I can just remember just sort of when I looked at my hands, I saw all this hair, and then it went sort of, I saw it going all the way down the bath, and I was like, really? This is happening now? And I can remember that at that time, I didn't have a super close relationship with my father, but I knew that he was bald and that he had gone bald young. And I can remember this in the pit of my stomach, realising in year 9 that was going to be sort of my fate. I can remember we were at a training day, and I was walking down the stairs from the training room to go to a lunch break, and someone commented, because they were further up the stairs, that they could see my bald patch. And I can just remember the rest of that training day. And I was having it was a really fun time. I remember I was really very quiet for the second half, because I just couldn't stop thinking about what they had said. Instead of doing the buzz cut, why don't you sort of, grow your hair and then do it kind of spiky, and kind of comb it back. So not the comb over, but the comb back. And I thought, oh yeah, all right, we'll try that. And I can remember sort of doing that. But as I sort of combed it back, and I did do it for a couple of years, to be fair, but I can remember doing it, and then kind of just you would just feel this spot missing, and without sort of sounding dramatic, it just, when you felt a spot missing, you kind of felt like you had something missing, and it kind of made me feel sort of defective, because I would notice it more. So then I went back then to just shaving my head. And then with the symptoms, I think I've bought every product from sort of 25 to 30 from the pharmacy that sort of proclaim to sort of cure or sort of pause the balding, and of course it didn't work. And then I can remember ordering some stuff then from overseas, and it got confiscated by customs that couldn't make it into the country. And I remember thinking, man, this is really tough. And then I kind of think, to be honest, I kind of relented, and I kind of gave up. That was the way I really dealt with the symptoms. I just sort of thought, well, this is your dad was bald and your brother's not, but you are, so that's sort of your lot in life. And I just sort of settled for it, to be honest. I did consider a hair transplant, and I can remember going to, I can't remember what the company was called, but I remember it was one that a cricketer had gone to, and I remember going in, and I had this sort of consultation, but it felt I remember the person sort of not being in a lab coat, but I can remember it felt very kind of sort of dressed up and quite sort of serious, but serious in that I felt sort of pressured, and they were sort of talking about the process of sort of I remember there sort of being lasers and then some other stuff that I was sort of a bit confronted with, and then tablets that I had to take, sort of these hormonal sort of tablets I had to take sort of forever, and I just I don't know, I for me, just not having that and just accepting what I had was easier and sat better with me than undergoing what this sort of hair transplant stuff entailed. I just there wasn't something that I felt comfortable doing, and I certainly just didn't want to be on medication for the rest of my life doing that. When I heard about it, when I learned about it, when I Googled it, I thought, well, it kind of connects with me because it's a subtle sort of conservative approach, and it kind of, I sort of have a personal ethos that it's sort of working with what I've got. I think being 35, I'm relatively comfortable with sort of who I am and what I'm about and how I sort of put myself across. So I can't. It's taken me a long time to get to this. So I'm not looking to reinvent myself or be a brand new person, because it's taken so long just to kind of get to know this person. And I just wanted to come in, and I just wanted to hear about it, and I just wanted to see, do I qualify? And is it possible? Is it a genuine option for me? And obviously it is. But it was sort of it wasn't about sort of creating or inventing something for me. From how I understand it, with the SMP, it's really just putting back what I had even 3, 5, and 8 years ago. So that sits really comfortably with me, because I feel like it's sort of just replacing something or sort of topping something up, and that sits very comfortably with me. And obviously, I think I have a very nice, beautiful bald head. I'm very happy with the shape of my head. And I like the shaved look. I've told that it suits me and all that. So I just sort of thought, well, this thing, it's just a natural fit for me, and that's really why I wanted to come in. Emotionally, it's had the biggest impact on me, and I don't think that I fully realised it until really reaching out for this sort of procedure and learning more about it. Baldness is something that happened to me. It isn't something that I chose. For example, over my life, I've had issues with weight, but I can say that I made poor decisions. I genuinely did. I didn't exercise enough. I didn't eat the right food, and I've tried really hard to better myself in that regard. But the baldness, it just began to happen, and just with other stuff that I sort of have going on, it made me feel sort of defective and less of a person, and ugly. Baldness is something that you alone kind of carry on your own. It isn't something that I share with my family. My father, who has passed away, was bald, but unfortunately for me, I didn't see him often. I didn't have a relationship with him, and my brother isn't bald, nor is my mum or my sister. So it was something that was solely mine, and so I felt very kind of isolated by that. And to be fair, like, as a teenager, the acne or the voice changing or sort of learning about, sort of who you like and all of that sort of thing, it was just like one more layer. But I think what makes the baldness such an emotional thing is you sort of feel like you're deteriorating or sort of falling apart, but yet you're still growing. It's not something that kind of, if it was happening to me and I was 80, I'd be like, well, I'm sort of in the third act, and this is kind of, you go grey, the hair falls out. But it was happening to me when I was, from 14, and I sort of thought, this is when I'm meant to be kind of growing into myself and sort of being, you know, apparently at my peak, the most attractive, the, you know, and I'm already kind of falling apart, you know. I don't really care what people will think. You know, part of me is sort of hoping that they won't notice, or part of me is thinking that they'll just think I had a really lovely weekend. But I mean, a fear is obviously thinking, oh, you know, I'll look silly or I'll look goofy or they'll kind of, I'll be talking and they'll just be looking at me, but they'll be kind of looking up, and I don't know, not liking what they're seeing. I was talking about it to Mum this morning on the phone, and she said something. She said it's like you're just filling in the blanks, and I was like, I guess it's I'm sort of filling in the blanks. So I'm sort of just hoping for maybe a sort of a return to form, or return to self. And I'm also expecting to perhaps see the beginnings of a hairline, or at least just sort of my hair being forward a little bit. I currently get when I have my photo taken, I get a lot of shine. I get the shine on the glasses, which is, I've had that my whole life. But then I get the shine on the forehead, and I'm anticipating maybe if I get photos taken this week that I might have less shine as well. You know, if it takes a couple of years off, that would be good. But I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it for that. That would just be that would be a plus. You know, you can spend sort of years, you know, thinking and looking in the mirror and googling solutions like you know, SMP, or a hairpiece or whatever, but not sending that email. I didn't call. I emailed. I'd never call. But I think you just need to do it. I mean, to be fair, it doesn't mean that you will follow through with the procedure. You may not, you know, but I was always taught that it never hurts to ask. I've kind of, you know, and I've always sort of lived by the adage, there's no silly questions, you know. So I think you need to reach out. Also, you know, I'm very aware that I'm someone that might think, yeah, I'll make an appointment, but then I'll cancel. I've been that person. So I even made sure that I made the appointment for after work. So that way I knew that I would already be out and in my car and dressed, and it was kind of less wiggle room for me not to turn up, and I don't live too far, and I don't work too far from here. So I made it kind of hard on me to break that commitment to coming in. So I would just sort of advise and stress just to, you know, inquire and have a go, and you know, nothing bad comes from sort of learning more information, and for me, from that first consultation of reaching out, it's taken 6 months. 6 months, but it begins with contacting, reaching out. You have to do that. I came in and I hadn't met Scott before, and we just had a chat, like a really decent chat. And what I really liked was that it wasn't just the aesthetics or the vanity that we all have to some extent. It was about kind of me as a person and how I felt and where I kind of was in my thinking, and there was no there was no rush, there was no pressure, because when you first come in, it's like, I'm nervous today to have my first session, but I was equally nervous to come in and have a consultation, because when you come in, you're asking for help. And in general, men aren't good at asking for help with anything. So, in talking to Scott, I also at that time was thinking, maybe I'll do a hairpiece. Because there's a part of my personality that, while I'm very conservative, the flip side to that is I have this go hard or go home. Let's just do it. And we had a really genuine chat about it, and Scott just, the easy answer would have been, we'll do a hairpiece. I mean, it will work, and it probably could have worked. And sign here and let's do it. But instead it was like, that's good. That is an option. Have you heard of this option as well? Let's put this on the table. And then I went away for 6 months and Googled the hell out of it. Now, there was no kind of, you're coming back in, let's do this. There was touching base, but it was just, how was my thinking of it going? And for my personality and for sort of how tender I am about this, I mean, the approach is everything. And that gave me then the confidence to then trust Scott to then go ahead and work on my scalp. It was very personal, because if I came in here and sort of had a pushy sales pitch, even if I thought SMP could or would work, and I'm hoping that it will, I probably wouldn't have had it done here, because I just wouldn't have had that trust. So for me, it's been very kind of nurturing, and I've felt very, very comfortable, which for my personality in doing something like this, and I'm risk adverse, that's been very, very beneficial for me.